Welcome. Another day to explore the wonders of yourself through the Bhagavad Gita. I'm Atmadarshan, which means vision of the true self, or Laura Santoro is my legal name. Laura means honors. I don't know what Santoro means. Sicilian. I like to tease people sometime and tell them, well, saint, oro, gold, so I'm Saint Gold. But I don't really know. It's lost in antiquity. The shrouds of time and memory, and that kind of relates to what we're talking about today as we continue to explore this idea of Samatvam in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual text, and one of its main teachings is to be yourself. So we've been talking about this for like 200 and some days now. Whoops. Sorry about that. But we might be missing out on a very key aspect of this discussion. There may be a deficiency, which is, who are you? I mean, really, yourself. If I say be yourself with a capital S, not a little self, ego, but your true, authentic, honest, one could say naked self. Who is that? When I use the word naked, it's funny. When I use, we have to have outtakes. When I use the word naked, naked can imply vulnerability. Someday I'll tell you what I'm laughing at, but now's not the time. Anyway, so, okay, who are you really? I guess I'm a bundle of laughter today. If you don't know that, you can't be yourself. And in our society, we have these expectations placed on us from birth. From birth. The first thing that's asked of us or about us when we're born is boy or girl, or even before birth now, boy or girl. So that's a big honking label that's put on us, and we're treated in such different ways because of that label. I was reading last evening some posts from men about what was hard about being a man in this culture, and there were also, of course, posts from women, what was hard about being a woman, and it all was predicated on this perception of others of who they are, how they could behave, how they could manifest in the world. So who are you, though, underneath the labels? The first label, your name is a label. Who are you? If someone asks you at a party, who are you? Or they just meet you, who are you? How do you answer? It's tough socially to do that, let me tell you. And the reason I'm mentioning this is we're moving on to the next verse in the Gita. And it's another definition of yoga. So verse 18 in chapter 6 is from the poetic translation. It's in any of the 3 Song of Your Soul books, by the way, okay, if you use those, or you can listen. When the mind perfectly controlled comes to rest fully in the self, free from longing from all desires, one is said to be in yoga. That's yoga, being with yourself, your true self. And it's interesting, the free from longing for all desires, because quite frankly, it seems, and this is like in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you study psychology, the pinnacle of human evolution, according to many traditions and schools of psychology, is to self-actualize, to be yourself. If you're yourself, desires kind of cease on their own, because if you're really yourself, you're so authentic, you have everything. You have no desires from your little self, your ego, because you're truly yourself. And that can be things like desire for others to see you as important because you see yourself as important, desire to show that you're powerful, because if you're the true ultimate self, you're infinitely powerful. Wow, wouldn't that be great? And I'd like If you do have the Embracing book, I'm going to look at the second commentary on the right, which has a little Sanskrit. The word for mind in this particular verse is chitta, which I find fascinating because in Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Yogash Chitta Vritti Nirodha is one of the first sutras, and that's yoga. It's often translated as yoga is the stopping of the whirlpools of the mind, chitta. But chitta in Sanskrit doesn't mean mind like we think of it in the West. It can mean consciousness. It can mean mind stuff of the mind. And often in yoga psychology and Samkhya philosophy, it means one particular aspect of mind, which is memory, chitta. So we can also interpret this as when our memory rests fully in the self. So when we remember who we truly are, when we remember that, we're in yoga, our desires fall away. And then we can be ourselves, but we can't know ourselves until we are ourselves. When we can strip away the memories, the labels, then we can be ourselves. But that is tough. And we don't often spend our time doing that. We actually spend time putting more labels often, or more layers on ourselves. So before we get into the practice, here are some selves that I'm dedicating the practice to today. Dharmapriya, happy birthday. Ellen D, happy birthday. If you want me to remember you on your birthday, please send me information. I've got a little how to contact me link right below the video. Also to Vera, keep accepting. And to Lords Agni and Varuna, the masters of fire and water. They have been so good to us so far this summer. May they continue, because I know Lord Agni and his fire are running rampage, especially in this country right now. If there's anyone you would like to dedicate this to, you may. Please know that since we're all a part of the divine, whoever you're dedicating this to, you're ultimately dedicating it to yourself. All right, let's practice. By the way, it's super humid here. It's 90 some percent humidity. I just put on this shirt before I came out and it was wet. Woo! And the chair was wet. If you see any wet spots, that's why. Switch. As mentioned previously, I'm using a chair for a while because I'm trying to take care of my left knee. Let's contemplate who we really are at our core. Who is your true self? Can you find it? Let's see. 5 minutes to do it. Ready, set. was 5 minutes. Did you find yourself? It can be the work of an instant or a lifetime, because in the grand scheme of things, it's about the same length. If you did find yourself, then the trick is remembering that self, whatever you're doing throughout the day. And if you keep forgetting, one of the things a lot of spiritual traditions suggest is maybe change how your days go so that it's easier to remember. We'll explore more about this tomorrow. Until then, may you have bursts of random laughter and enjoy yourself.